Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to talk about ancient Chinese wedding traditions. This is back when marriages were actually real and meant something. I will come back to this point in the end. So let's get started. I have to make this clear at the start of the video. So only the emperor, the crown prince, or officials holding vast power and wealth back in ancient China, they could have multiple wives or concubines. People have this misconception that men back in the day could all have multiple wives. Everybody could live like a king and have a harem of 10,000 virgins. I talked about this in the previous video. That is 100% not true. You can't just generalize all men into one category. There was literally only one person inside of the country that had this kind of treatment. And if a king got 10,000 concubines, that means that 9,999 peasants will end up dying alone. Everyone else back in the harem, they were all eunuchs that had their balls chopped off. So you tell me, which gender was oppressed more, man or woman? Also back then, 99% of all marriages were monogamous, meaning one partner for life, and both partners must be virgins on wedding day. There was no such thing as a divorce. There was no divorce court. Nobody can just say, oh, I'm not happy, I'm in a toxic relationship, so I'm gonna file for divorce. Now, the emperor or the crown prince, they can choose to abolish one or more of their concubines. But once again, this is literally only for the royalty. The only exception is if you're a widow, typically a woman. So the woman, usually they have to wear all white and wait at least 1 to 3 years before marrying again. This waiting period and to dress in all white attire is to pay respect for their late husband that most likely died in battle, because back then there were so many conflicts and so many wars. Now most people got married around 18, sometimes 14, 15. And now keep in mind, the average life expectancy back then was around 35 to 40 years, so people had to get married much earlier and start a family much earlier. Most weddings were actually arranged by the parents. Dating very rarely happened, and you might think that's wrong. But somehow this kind of marriage was the most successful, and this lasted for well over 4,000 years in China. If this did not work, China will no longer exist today. On the wedding day, everyone's dressed in red. This is a very lucky color in China for obvious reasons. If you ever visit the Chinese shop or Chinese restaurant around the Lunar New Year day, you will see that the entire store is decorated in red. The bride is also given an apple. If you're wondering why apple, why not an orange or something, it's because apple in Mandarin Chinese is pronounced 苹果. The 平 in 苹果rhymes with peace, which is 和平. So this signifies a happy and peaceful marriage for the rest of their lives, and the couple will live in peace and tranquility. On the wedding day, the bride is carried to the groom in a red carriage, or I think the actual translation is a palanquin, but it sounds extremely weird. I've never heard of that word. In Chinese, it's called a 轿子. So a fortune lock is also given to the couple. This signifies that their fate and fortune will forever be locked into one place. Various instruments are played along the way with various dance performances. From then, the bride and the groom, they must kneel to the ground and pay respect, first to heaven and earth, then to their parents, and finally to each other. This is extremely important. Always remember that. Respect is never one-sided. It must always be reciprocated. So at this point, the bride's head is still covered in a red scarf. I don't know if that's how it's translated, but there's a picture in the middle. So from then, the groom, he will lift the scarf to reveal the bride's face. Then they will cross arms and share a drink. At the same time, a knot is made with their wedding attire, meaning that their fate will now forever be intertwined with each other, for better or for worse, in sickness or in health, until death pulls us apart. Back then, these words actually meant something. Then I think you know how the story goes from there. Now, it is normal for guests and family members to eavesdrop. This part always creeped me out. It is extremely weird to me, and many would stick their ears against the windows and listen for sex noises. Now, this didn't always happen, but if it did, it was normal. It was a different time period back then, and people had different values and beliefs. Let's fast forward to present day. In 2019, divorce rate in China skyrocketed to 50.7%. So what the hell happened? How come marriages arranged by their parents were so much more successful back then, and nobody got divorced, and nobody tried to murder each other? With the exception of what happened in the royal palace inside the harem. I'm talking about the average everyday peasants. Almost everyone was married happily ever after. You can disagree all you want, but that is the simple, cold, hard truth. If this didn't work, then China would no longer cease to exist today. I have covered this topic in previous videos, and I will come back to this in September in a long format video. We need to focus on bringing back the nuclear family. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. See you next time. Bye bye.